Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2015 Bridgewater's Finest Movie Awards. Justin and Tyler presented in conjunction with MediaDetour.com. We're going to get things kicked off for 2015 with some of our miscellaneous awards. In this video, we're going to be awarding the movie that we can't believe we loved, the movie we can't believe we hated, 3 movies that we expected more from, and 3 movies that we expected less from. I'm going to get us kicked off on this video with the movie that I can't believe I loved from 2015. My 2015 winner is Unfriended.
Guess what? Me too.
Oh, is it really? Oh, that's fantastic.
I knew it, but here's the thing, I knew yours would be.
Did you really?
Yes, because we came out of this movie being like, I remember walking out.
Yeah.
And being like, Justin, did you love that movie? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, fuck, me too.
Yeah, and it was like, because if you don't know, if you didn't happen to see Unfriended because it looked like the same kind of generic thing you've seen 100 times, I can't blame you because the trailer kind of almost made it look a little bit like that. We just kind of, I think, went and saw it on a whim.
Yeah, like I thought the gimmick was cool,
right,
but I wasn't expecting anything good.
Unfriended is a horror movie based around 6 high school friends, classmates, whatever, who are on Skype. The whole movie essentially takes place on Skype. And it's based around the 6 of them kind of encountering paranormal sort of shit going down because a classmate of theirs killed themselves due to like cyberbullying and bullying in schools and things like that. And one of the things that I really remarked about it when I left the theater was that this movie's kind of deceptively intelligent. Because it makes inferences to like Amanda Todd and Brittany Parsons and like these sort of really high profile real life cases of cyberbullying and these girls who either committed suicide or attempted suicide or things like that. Like it makes these kind of inferences and it doesn't specifically mention them obviously, but it's things happen in the movie that are very reminiscent of those real life cases. And I'm watching it and I'm thinking, this is kind of intelligent. Like it's a horror movie. You expect it to be dumb, but it like this is honestly like kind of insightful almost. And the gimmick. Some people I remember reading that the gimmick for them, they thought it wore thin and it's like it's Skype and that's sort of a stupid idea. I kind of thought it incorporated modern technology really well.
Yeah, I think they did it really well. It wasn't the first movie to try this. I can't remember what the one was, but no one had heard of it. I didn't hear of it until I was reading about Unfriended later, and they're like, it's not the first movie that did this.
Oh,
I don't remember what it was, but this is the first one that I saw doing this. And it also has really good performances. Like, not like Oscar,
no.
if you think Oscars are really important, but it's not like Oscar-worthy performances. Fuck the Oscars.
It's all about us.
They're not like Oscar-worthy performances or anything. Like, they're not going to get anything for this. But they were incredibly believable.
Yeah.
And their relationships with one another were very believable.
Very.
And they led to a lot of tension and emotion. And it wasn't, like, scary all the time by any means.
No.
But, like, I was invested in it. And then when, like, the more grotesque things happen, which... like things suddenly happen, like I'm not gonna like a guy comes on the screen and something's happening, he's like, oh fuck, and it was disturbing.
Yeah.
Because you were invested, and so many horror movies don't do that.
Totally skip it. Like The Gallows is one of those movies where it's like seemed like a really interesting premise, and they just totally skip character development at all. Oh, awesome trailer.
Bad movie.
But they skip character development entirely.
Yeah, no,
in
The
that
Gallows
movie.
wasn't good.
And I have this problem with teenage dialogue in Hollywood movies. Almost 100% of the time, teenage dialogue in movies is awful. Because it's usually old white men trying to write teenage dialogue, and it's fucking terrible. But in this movie, it's like the dialogue's actually really good, and the characters are believable, and like you said, you can get invested with them, you can kind of get behind them, so that when shit happens to them, it has that much more of an effect.
They're teenagers. I mean, we all talk like idiots anyway.
Right.
We all have our like own.
You're about to be. You're about to listen to us talk like idiots for like 3 hours, but
everyone has their own little inside jokes and ways they talk to their friends or whatever. Absolutely. So it's nice when it's like you watch something and it's like, this seems. I'm not a teen anymore, but this seems very much like my experience with teens today.
Right. Exactly.
Like working around them or whatever, and it's just like, yeah, that sounds like them.
Right. And I don't expect teenagers to be spouting off Shakespeare, but it's very apparent when you're watching a movie with teenagers in it when the dialogue was written by people that are not teenagers. Yeah. Like, it's very apparent. And this movie really didn't have that. So, hey, look at that. First award, first consensus. Both of us, the movie that we can't believe we loved, Unfriended. So since we had a consensus there, let's move on. We're going to move on now to the movie that we can't believe we hated, and I'm going to let Tyler kick us off.
I know we don't agree on this one.
Okay.
Just because I'm not even sure. I don't know if you saw it. Anyway, the one I can't believe I hated, ironically enough, is called Love.
Wow.
which I didn't even realize until just now. I thought, nice. That's funny.
Tyler confirmed to hate Love.
It's directed by this guy. And I might mess up names throughout this.
It's gonna happen.
I think this guy's name is French, so it's Gaspar Noé. Whatever. Gaspar Noé.
No way Gaspar. He's gonna make a good movie.
He's a very good director. Like he's very challenging. Like very I like challenging artists in general that like push boundaries in whatever way. So I look forward to his movies because I think I love challenging directors.
Yeah.
He's like buddies with Harmony Korine, so they kind of like.
Well, there you go.
But anyway, so I went into Love, which is supposed to be his kind of like take on romantic sex. Like, because when you see a movie and they're having a sex scene, they cut away at certain points. And there's no real romance to a lot of the sex. Like, this was his words, basically.
Okay.
I'm paraphrasing him, obviously. And like, I agree with that. So he wanted to make something where you don't really cut away. And you show romantic sex. Like, real sex.
Okay.
And stuff. And, like, to the point where there's actual penetration, as far as I know.
Okay.
And there's a lot of sex. There's a lot. And it goes and it goes. Like, the beginning of the movie is, like, I think them masturbating each other. I think that's the opening shot. And I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect him because he's...
And I respect that.
I love my porn.
Exactly.
I know this sounds like porn. But anyway, what I didn't like about it was... Okay, the sex scenes were just too much. Mm-hmm. Like, it became boring.
Yeah.
The actors were terrible. And I know there were some first-timers, I think, in there, but they were just bad. The script was bad. Everything was bad, and it just seemed, like, shallow. It was just like, hey, look, I'm making this movie where there's, like, penetration, and which isn't even new to me, because I've seen other movies with real penetration, like The Idiots. It did nothing that he set out to do for me, and I was really disappointed with it, because I always look forward to his movies.
Right. All right, fair enough. Well, that is it's so unfortunate that you hate Love.
I might as well be confessional while I'm here.
True enough.
What's yours, Justin?
My movie from 2015 that I can't believe I hated is Fantastic Four.
I didn't expect anything like great, and you don't love Fantastic Four.
No. You're absolutely right.
You shocked me.
There we go. There's a surprise. Damn it, we got a surprise right off the bat. No, the reason that this movie gets this award for me is like I understand that this is not like it's a Marvel property, but it's not. In terms of the movie. But my problem with it is that Marvel has given us such boners for great comic book movies.
Yep.
And that's the problem. And I think we're kind of spoiled at this point, if I'm being perfectly honest, because we expect so much from these Marvel movies now, which is basically like the comic book movies of record outside of Batman. So it's like we have such high expectations for comic book movies that when Fox puts this out, which is so clearly just, we're going to put this out so we don't lose the IP.
Yeah.
Like, when it's so clearly that, and it's like, we're going to throw some money at this, and like we're going to spend some money, but we're pretty confident that we're going to make that money back, so it's okay. And they don't really, it felt like they didn't put the care in it, nearly enough of the care in it that it needed to be. The acting, which you don't always have to have great acting in comic book movies, but this was like B-movie. It was
disappointing because Michael B. Jordan,
right? Kate Mara, she's good,
and the dude that I always forget his name, but I always say he's from The Spectacular Now.
He's
always a douchebag.
Yeah, he is.
I actually
Miles Teller.
I actually enjoy him in certain.
Yeah,
roles.
Me too. I watched, and I watched this movie twice. Because the first time I watched it in theaters, I was like, you know what? I didn't like that, but it's a possibility that it's just a victim of my high expectations. So I'm going to give this another chance because maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was. And I watched it the second time, and I was like, this is one of the fucking worst things I've seen all year. I didn't like the acting. I didn't like the story. I thought the storyline was kind of weak. And, the villain was okay, but they beat his ass in 2 minutes at the end. And it's just like, I don't know. It felt like so much of it just didn't work.
You punk Doctor Doom. The coolest thing about Fantastic Four, let's be honest.
Right.
You punk Doctor Doom in 5 minutes.
Where else do you go?
In the most anticlimactic battle ever.
Where else do you go?
That was the point. I mean, I know that's late in the movie, and I already didn't like the movie.
Right.
But that was the point where I was like, nope, I truly hate this movie. I just couldn't forgive anything about their Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Just to beat him like that.
And I think they got the right person to play him.
Yeah.
I just don't think they did anything right about it except for his introduction. That's it. He's got a 5-minute sequence which is badass, and it's the best part of the
There's two
movie.
scenes in the movie that are really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. And that's about it.
Yeah, anyway.
And the rest of it.
Because I do got things I want to say, but
right.
I think this is coming later. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to remember.
So based on the fact that it was a comic book movie done by a studio that doesn't deserve to do a comic book movie or know how to do a comic book movie, Fantastic Four is my movie that I can't believe I hated. Moving on, we're going to give out our award now for the movies that we expected more from. And if you remember from last year, we each do 3. So there's 3 movies that we each expected more from. So I'm going to start with my number 3 movie that I expected more from 2015, which is The Woman in Gold. And Tyler's going to have plenty to say about this movie because he really didn't lie to you. That's pretty much
Which will become apparent when we talk about it.
Definitely. The Woman in Gold is a drama movie starring Helen Mirren and Ryan Reynolds, and it's the story of Helen Mirren, who is a Jewish refugee attempting to reclaim what she feels was a stolen piece of art from her family that the Nazis stole during World War II. The reason that it makes this list, now I think I rated this movie like a 50. I think I gave it a pass. But the reason that it makes this list is that it's got every element in there that makes for a drama movie that I should be interested in. I like Helen Mirren. Ryan Reynolds is impossibly pretty.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
And he's good. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like there's all the elements in here that's like, okay, this is going to be pretty, this is going to be like 70 territory for me. Something that is, acceptable.
Totally respectable.
Exactly. And but this movie is so boring.
So boring.
This thing just crawls. And it's one of these movies where there's nothing for you to invest in because things happen and then more things happen and then there's feels, but there's not real. There's feels in the movie, but there's not feels for you.
It feels soulless.
And then the movie ends and that's it. And it's like there's nothing of consequence whatsoever. There's nothing really to get invested in. This movie is shot beautifully. It's a pretty movie, but there's nothing to.
I think what it comes down to is it is shot well, it's acted well, everything is done really well, and yet it can't make a connection.
No, it adds up to nothing.
It's one of the only movies ever where I've been in the theater. And I get tired during movies, especially when I was on weird shifts. I get tired. I get tired during a lot of movies because I'm not good with darkness.
Right.
Like I get tired when I'm sitting in the dark, even though I love going to the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get tired of a lot of movies, and I've fallen asleep in movies unintentionally.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like the only one ever that I've been like
intentionally.
I could go to sleep, or I could watch this, and I didn't nap long.
No.
It was like 5-10 minutes, but I actually chose I'm there fighting it, right? Because I fight it sometimes. I'm fighting it. I'm like, no, done, and then I just go.
Yeah.
And I never do that.
Was that the movie that I woke you up because you were snoring?
Probably.
I think it was. The Woman in Gold, unfortunately, has a lot of pieces that I should like, but it just adds up to absolutely nothing. So that is my number 3 movie that I expected more from. My number 2 movie from 2015 that I expected more from is The Visit. Interesting. Now, The Visit is a horror movie centered around 2 young kids, a brother and a sister, who are sent off by their mother to stay with the grandparents. And hijinks ensue when everything is not as it seems. Now, this was actually one of the best marketed horror movies of the year as far as I'm concerned, because the trailers for this made this look pretty good. Now, the trailer started to suffer from oversaturation towards the end, but the trailer made this movie look quite good, and it made it look creepy, and it kind of did all the things that a horror movie is supposed to do. And unfortunately for me, The Visit was among the most frustrating movies of the year for me, because I still, to this day, I'm still sitting here and I don't know whether that movie was good or bad. It was kind of unfortunate because I had the twist in the movie spoiled for me on Facebook, which, come on, Kramer, come on, man. Really? Come on. Even if I wouldn't have had the twist spoiled for me, I feel like I would have gotten to it before the movie did. Because I feel like, and now maybe subconsciously I knew it, so I was looking for reasons, but I honestly think even if I didn't, there are enough flagpoles in the storyline of the movie where it's like, I understand. And I think it's as soon as, I'm not going to worry about spoilers at this point, as soon as they make first mention of the mental hospital, I'm like, okay,
true.
I get, I think I know what's coming. But, you know, it's unfortunate. And I think what the movie was trying to go for, too, was I think it was trying to go for that, like, metacognitive horror comedy, Cabin in the Woods kind of deal. Not as outwardly in your face as Cabin in the Woods was with it. But I think
Cabin in the Woods was more dissection, though.
Absolutely.
This was, like, firmly like a horror comedy.
Yeah. But, like, I felt like it was kind of going for something along the same lines, and I felt like it whiffed. Like, I just felt like it was a big swing and a miss on that level, which didn't help either. Because I was really hoping that this was going to kind of be something rather special, and it ended up being, for me, something rather mediocre. So that's why The Visit is my number 2 movie that I expected more from.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm not, like, in love with it by any means, but I enjoyed it. I found it funny. I found some of the scares good. And I don't know if the twist is predictable or not, because I tend to just get involved in movies and I don't think too much.
I try desperately to avoid that.
Like I very rarely predict anything unless it's like super obvious. If I've predicted a twist, it's super obvious because I'm not thinking. My mind is not doing that at all.
You're more in the moment, which is why you should watch movies.
I like the twist, knowing it. Like looking back on it now, I was like, I'm not saying the movie was the scariest movie ever.
No,
and it had some good scares, but the twist. In theory, like if it happened to you, that's fucking scary.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's a scary twist. But I quite enjoyed it. Like I'm not sure if it hit an 8 out of 10 for me or not. I think it might have been a 7.5, which is totally respectable on on my scale. Definitely recommend it. I just got to make a quick note about Shyamalan.
Shyamalan.
I don't like that joke. I literally do not know how to pronounce it. M. Night is like one of the greatest directors that makes bad movies. Like,
all right, I like that.
The Sixth Sense, great movie. Unbreakable, fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Signs wasn't great, but had some great scenes. The Village was good until it shit the bed later on.
Yeah.
And then, like, Lady in the Water and stuff were not good movies by any means.
Right.
But the problem with his movies is never, or hardly ever, the directing.
Mm-hmm.
But he's actually very, like very much like an Alfred Hitchcock, not as good.
Right.
In the way he does things. And some of the
Mm-hmm.
shots he does, with the suspense that he attempts. He's very Hitchcockian in this regard. And I've actually always respected him as purely a director, not a writer, because
Right.
when he writes, and he writes most of his movies, he needs somebody to come in and be like, yo, what the hell is this?
You gotta fix this.
Give this to Max Landis.
Yeah.
But I've always like maintained this hope that M. Night would come back.
In my heart.
And The Visit, he did. He did come back. It's not Unbreakable, because he'll never make another Unbreakable. He's so far gone down that road. But like that was like a superhero movie that was amazing before superhero movies started becoming amazing.
Right. Right on.
I thought you liked it a little more than you did.
Yeah, I mean, I think I dug it more coming out of the theater, and then
Fair enough.
when I thought about it a little bit more, I was like, eh.
All right, what's your...
My number one movie that I expected more from in 2015 is Jupiter Ascending. Now,
Good pick.
Yeah.
Good pick.
Now, Jupiter Ascending was supposed to come out in 2014, got delayed until 2015, which can be a bad sign or a good sign. It's like, oh, maybe they're taking the time that they need to do this right. They didn't do that in this one, which is unfortunate. Jupiter Ascending is a sci-fi movie about a human girl who comes to find out that she is basically the heir to the planet Earth. From the Queen of the Universe, and that is her actual canon name, Queen of the Universe.
Yeah.
Channing Tatum as basically this, I can't remember the actual legit name that they use for what he was, but he is basically the one that's kind of protecting her from the forces of the Queen of the Universe, who is trying to kill her because they want to harvest the planet Earth, harvest the resources on Earth for their kingdom of the universe, I guess. This is a movie that looks very good, and the sci-fi elements are fine, and I'm very forgiving to sci-fi. I think I say this every year, and basically in every sci-fi review that I do, I'm so forgiving to the genre. So like, there's a lot of things that I can kind of like, okay, that's a little wonky, but I can explain it because sci-fi. It didn't make for any kind of an entertaining whole for me. And I think my problem was I went into this movie expecting chicken salad and I got cucumber salad. It's still fine, still nutritious, but not what it could be. And that's my definition of cucumber salad. Sorry folks, technical difficulties. We're back at it now. I was in the middle of talking about Jupiter Ascending. And like I said, nothing is really asked character-wise, motivation-wise, anything like that. It should have been more than what it ended up being. Really not unwatchable, but it ends up kind of being really bad. So Jupiter Ascending is my number one movie that I expected more from in 2015.
I didn't find it bad. I was entertained by it, but I don't think anything you said is untrue.
I love dogs.
Oh God. Like
Just
I don't remember a lot of individual scenes in movies because my memory is like it's just bad. But I remember that now that you say it. Oh, that was terrible.
That's a really bad line. Eddie Redmayne made Eddie Redmayne look like a putz.
Yeah.
He just won the Oscar last year, and this movie makes him look like a putz.
Yeah, I think maybe I'd be a little harder on it now, but coming out of it, I was like, okay, I was entertained.
Jupiter Ascending should have been a franchise maker of a film.
Yeah.
It should have been a movie that was done so well that it spawned a franchise and made shitty sequels. But unfortunately, the first one's not
I think they
great.
They probably wanted to.
I think they probably wanted to. But,
yeah, I don't have a lot
think that's gonna
to
happen.
add. It looked good for the most part, but I remember there being certain things, whether it's in like their costumes or that seemed a little wonky. Like it was very inconsistent.
Yeah. Tyler likes to be positive.
Yeah, I like positivity.
And in saying that, now he's going to tell us about 3 movies he didn't like.
All right, so we're on to Expected More.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 3 for I Expected More, and I never give like plot descriptions like this guy. You'll notice this watching. I just never do it. But number 3, Crimson Peak.
Oh man.
But these aren't movies I hate.
No.
These are movies I just expected more.
Yeah.
Because Del Toro, I expect more.
Yeah, all hail Guillermo, your Lord and Master. Like,
Yeah.
it's...
Like I just expect more from him.
Yeah.
I have to leave.
I have to leave. Which has since become one of our most quoted and probably favorite lines from a movie that we've seen this year. Just because, like, it smacks you in the face in the trailer.
Yeah.
To the point, and that trailer got played so much that, like, you wait the whole movie for her to say this. And when she does it, you mark out like hell because you're like, yes,
it's super awkward.
I have to leave.
We've
taken to saying, like, we have to anything, but saying it in
we have to film this video.
I have to film.
But,
I'm sorry, Mia Wachowski, you're a phenomenal actress.
Yeah.
It's
just that line. It's like the delivery of that one line.
It is. It's true.
And for the most part, the acting is good.
Yeah.
In fact, what's her face?
Jessica Chastain.
Very good.
Amazing.
Very, very good.
So good.
In that movie.
Tom Hiddleston's a good actor.
Visually wonderful.
Yeah.
Although I think I have a hard time remembering what I think about things, but I'm pretty sure I had slight issues with the way the ghosts or whatever looked. Nothing major.
No.
Didn't think they were as like inspired looking as some of his other stuff. Mind you, I'm holding everything up to Pan's Labyrinth, which is so unfair. Or even the one with big robots. Oh my god.
Oh, Pacific Rim.
Yeah. Like, I thought Pacific Rim was beautiful too.
Tyler, that would have been bad if we would have forgotten.
Yeah. Because we're like two of the only people on the planet I think that really liked
that
it.
fucking loved Pacific
Yeah.
Rim. Great.
Because it felt like a passion project.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what his movie should feel like, because that's the kind of guy I think he is.
Right.
And Crimson Peak was good. Visually, it was good. Had some good performances. I think my main issue at the time when I watched it, because we talked at great length, was just that I found the writing sloppy.
Okay.
So sloppy. Like the whole metaphor of ghosts.
Yeah.
Was so lazy. And I know tons of movies do it, but for some reason this one really got to me. Like, it was incredibly lazy. And because the script was not so great,
right?
I had a harder time getting into it.
Yeah,
but like the rest of the movie was fine. Like, looked good, and like, you know, so that's my number 3. Just because like I did not hate it.
Right.
It was like a 7.5.
Right.
Number 2 was Black Hat. Again, movie I liked.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it less than Crimson Peak, but I gave it a passing grade. I think maybe a 6.5.
This one was on my list until late in the year, I think.
Yeah.
At least it was there for at least half the year because Black Hat came out very early.
Yeah.
It was like it was a January movie.
I think it was like the first disappointment of the year.
Yes. It's the Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit for 2015.
I like Michael Mann as a director.
Yeah,
I think I've given him passes more than maybe I should have because of Heat.
Oh, I understand.
What else did he do? Public Enemies?
I think he might have done Public
Enemies. And I like that. I've learned making this, like when I was trying to think of like what my picks would be, that Michael Mann is very inconsistent.
Yeah.
He's got heat in him, but then he's got like Miami Vice. And this time it's like somewhere in between. It's like Black Hat is not a bad movie. It's competent. It's exciting enough that I'm entertained by it, but I'm not especially thrilled.
Right.
All right, my number 1 I expected more from is Selfless.
Nice. That's a good pick.
Selfless.
That's a good pick. I like the way you think.
Man. All right. Tired. Like another thing people knows about me that everything seems to be about the directors. I'm very much a director guy.
You are absolutely a director.
I get excited for movies because I don't know the director to every movie I go see.
No.
And sometimes I don't even know what director I like did a movie I'm going to see. But if you're like Tarsem Singh's movie, Selfless is coming out, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So I go into Selfless and I'm pumped because it's a Singh movie and it had did it have Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, it was Ryan Reynolds
and it had, Kingsley.
Yeah, and Ben King. So it's like
who's always
it's almost like The Woman in Black, because The Woman in Black, The Woman in Gold, The Woman in Black, almost like The Woman in Gold, because it's like, okay, you got Ryan Reynolds and you got Ben. I love Ben Kingsley, love me some Ben Kingsley. So it's like, and it's a sci-fi premise, and it's like not too distant future kind of sci-fi premise, and I dig that stuff.
Not a bad idea.
So it's like no. And so it's like this, and you were the one that really sold me on Tarsem Singh.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, he did this, he did this, he did this. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So visually, this thing should be good.
Right.
But what did we think? Or so you especially, when we left the theater, the first thought was, what happened to Singh's balls?
Yeah, and it's like, because it's like the plot wasn't good enough to carry it, right?
Right.
The plot wasn't, the plot, like, the premise was fine, the way it unfolded was not.
Right.
And he kind of, like, took away the more visually interesting aspects of his talent.
Right.
For Selfless as it went on. Like, the beginning was kind of cool, and then it kind of became like, oh, this looks like every other Hollywood movie now, only with doesn't have a great script. So now it's just like it's not a Sing movie to me, first of all. I didn't like it. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen.
No.
But I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And that's a shame because I had high hopes.
Yeah, and should have been better than what it was.
Yeah.
All right, so those are the 3 movies that we each expected more from in 2015. Now we're going to move on to the movies that we expected less from. We got 3 each, and I think I'm going to let Tyler kick us off on this one.
Let's do this. I expected less. Number 3, The Gift. I expected a lot less from this.
Yes.
This is a movie where the trailer was like, okay, it looks all right. I might go see it if there's nothing else playing. Because we just go to movies. Like, we just go. We just go to movies. Like, I tried to see a movie every week in the theater this year. There was a few weeks that I didn't.
Right.
But I tried every week to go to the movies. And then, like, it started getting really good reviews. And then all of a sudden I'm talking to this guy, and it's just like, it's getting really good reviews. And then he's like, you don't have to really convince him to go to a movie. So he's just like, I'm
like, I don't work tonight. Let's go.
Let's go. And I really liked it. It's mostly a testament to Joel Edgerton.
Yep.
Who directed and acted in it.
Right.
Because he was the creep. And he managed to play a character that is menacing, but then he has this really, like, loving, sympathetic face.
Yeah.
Like, he pulls it off, and I'm just like, this guy did a really good job. And the movie just, like, I don't know if it was the most unpredictable thing in the world by any means. Because you kind of get the impression, even from the beginning, that this guy's creepy.
Yeah.
You don't know exactly how it's going to go.
No.
But, like, it just ended up being like, yeah, The Gift was a really good movie. It was like, for me, this year, it was like The Guest last year. A movie that the trailer looked okay. And I like The Guest more. But when I watched The Guest last year, I was just, holy crap. Like, this is fantastic. I'm so glad that I decided to just give it a try.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
what The Gift is like. It was fantastic.
Well done. Very good.
My next one, a movie that I like less than The Gift, but it's a bigger surprise that I liked it at all. Spy.
Right. Yes.
It was funny.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't have anything real intelligent to say about it.
No.
Don't like Melissa McCarthy in a lot of her movies. I like Mike and Molly. I don't watch it religiously.
Yeah, no.
But I like the
You've
show.
mentioned
I think
a few
it's funny.
times.
I think it's funny. Her movie choices are just like she's pigeonholed herself into like this swearing fat person.
Right.
And I don't mean that in an offensive way, but that's because she's bigger, so they use that as comedy, right?
Exactly.
Like, I'm not trying to insult her. She's just bigger, so they're like, it's like Kevin James,
right?
who I also like. I don't like every role he's in, but I like Kevin James.
I've often called Melissa McCarthy the female Zach Galifianakis because that's kind of outside. Because with Zach Galifianakis, outside of it's kind of a funny story. Yeah. He's was kind of pigeonholed as his character from Hangover. And I mean, she's got a trailer for a movie coming out now, that Girl Scout one, that she's like a high-powered business lady who gets fired, and then she, like, which just, it looks like that, it looks like generic lazy comedy, and it's like, oh, that's unfortunate.
That's what Spy looked like.
And it's kind of what Spy looked like.
Spy's funny.
And Spy ended up being really good. I genuinely enjoyed Spy more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Number one, this big one.
I expected less from The Duff. The Duff.
The Duff is also my number 3 that I expected less from.
Awesome.
Absolutely, I did. Yeah, The Duff is my number 3.
Yo, super funny movie.
Definitely.
I'm gonna call a spade a spade. one of the best comedies of the year with a trailer that made it look terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's teen movie. The Duff, if you don't know, designated ugly fat friend, which I was in high school. No, and like we're not the audience for this movie.
No,
we are not the audience for this at all.
Wait, this was they literally make a joke about a 30 or a 20. A 30-year-old or a 29-year-old, don't they?
Something like that.
In this movie, they literally make a joke about some, like, our age.
Yes.
From the very beginning, I laughed. I laughed in the first 5 minutes, and I'm like, didn't expect that.
No, genuinely funny, and genuinely endearing as a movie.
Yeah.
Like endearing, good characters, and I remember my favorite line from the movie, and it's the one that made me laugh the most, and I was still laughing about it 5 minutes later. She's when this main character is realizing that she is quote unquote a Duff. She's scrolling through old pictures with her of her and her two friends, like her two like hot friends. And she's scrolling through pictures, and it was a picture from Halloween where two of them were Charlie's Angels, but she was Bosley. And she said, "Why did I have to be Bosley? There were three angels." Because the two of them were angels, she was Bosley. And that was one of those jokes that I'm not even a huge fan of Charlie's Angels, but that was a joke that it hit me just perfect, and it tickled me just perfectly, and I was still laughing about it 5 minutes later.
Yeah, I wish I could remember, like, there was tons of jokes. I wish I could remember any of them. Yeah. But I just remember sitting there being like, I came out of it, I think I watched it with my little brother, we both enjoyed it, and I was just like, really didn't see that coming. No. And that's why I go to movies randomly.
Yeah.
And I'm unashamed in my
Absolutely.
like for the Duff.
No, for sure. And it's so good. That's our second consensus so far on the night.
I didn't see coming because I didn't even know you saw it.
No, absolutely. Genuine surprise. I also really like the soundtrack in that movie. I can't even remember like specific songs now, but I remember as I'm watching it, I'm like, man, this movie's got a good soundtrack.
Movie.
I'm gonna have to go back and actually find the soundtrack, but it was really, really good. So that was my number 3 as well as his number 1. So moving into my movies that I expected less from, my number 2 that I expected less from was a movie called Focus, and this was a movie with Will Smith and Margot Robbie, who were kind of professional. Well, he's a professional kind of con artist sort of thing, and she's bloody hot, and he takes her kind of under his wing to kind of teach her the con artist way. What I really enjoyed so much about the movie was I kind of thought it was just going to be, I didn't really know what I thought it was going to be, but I didn't expect it to hit me as entertaining as it was, and I think the biggest reason why the movie was so entertaining is I didn't take it seriously for a second. I think even though it's not an out front comedy per se, it's one of those
It was funny.
It was funny, but I think it's one of those movies that like, this is not realistic. This is brain candy. Like, this is not something that actually happens. This is somebody, to steal a quote from Jim Cornette about the wrestling business, this is just somebody jacking off. Like, this is not realistic in the least.
That's the thing. Like, con movies are fun when they're just like people that are just ridiculously good at being con artists.
Right.
You want the con to work out because you want to see their master plan unfold well, right?
Absolutely. And that was kind of what it was in this one, because spoilers, it all works out in the end. But and I mean, it was buoyed by the fact that, I mean, Will Smith is on his game this year. Margot Robbie is good in this role when there's not a ton asked from her performance wise, but she's got to do the job, and she's got to play the character, and she was good in it, and there's so much chemistry between, like, they play off of each other so super well. So, like, that really kind of propelled the movie for me. And one thing that I really loved about it was it felt very old school.
I got what I wanted from Focus.
Yeah.
Didn't love it. Certainly didn't hate it. It was an entertaining flick.
Yeah.
And that's all I expected.
Makes sense. Now, are we ready for the first real solid disagreement that we've had? Do you know what's coming?
I expected less.
I expected less.
Yes, I think I know what's coming.
I'm pretty sure you know what's coming. My number 1 movie that I expected less from, haters gonna hate and I don't give a shit, 50 Shades of Grey. 50
Good.
Shades
I was
of
hoping
Grey.
this would happen. Fuck you.
I know. Why did I expect less from it? Because the source material is a dumpster fire. E.L. James is awful. She is a terrible writer. She's a fanfic writer that got lucky. And that's basically all she was. She's writing Twilight fan fiction, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, Bella getting teabagged by Edward! I love it so much." And so she took all the Twilight references out of it and just made it into a book.
Just one quick thing.
Sure.
She benefits from the fact that people don't seem to realize that there's kinkier sex.
Absolutely.
Like, people that don't understand, people who haven't been on the internet. And it sucks because there's better erotica out there.
Oh my God. I work in a bookstore. I could string off 25 authors that write the exact same thing, but write it so much better.
They write it like poetry.
They write it like they're,
it's
a
good
writer.
writing, yeah.
Exactly. And she's not. Why 50 Shades of Grey hits this list for me is based on the fact that I find it to be an accomplishment in and of itself when an adaptation improves the source material. Now, granted, they're working from shitty source material, and this is not a good screenplay. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh my God, this screenplay is great." It's not. The screenplay is not great.
What's his face is terrible.
He's not. Jamie Dornan. He's not good.
Yeah.
Dakota Johnson is good in that role, and she was good in another movie this year, Black Mass. She was good in that.
I bought her in 50 Shades.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So she kind of took it and ran with it as much as you possibly could with a character that's not really interesting, whose primary reason for being there is getting boned by the I knocked over the donuts, is getting boned by the least interesting male protagonist in the history of literature. To me, 50 Shades of Grey, it was slow paced. The movie I'm talking about, not the book. The book is a snore. But the movie itself, it's slow paced, but it's entertaining, and it's impossibly pretty. Like, the movie's filmed in this really, really, really pretty way, and there's really great set pieces, especially his kind of place. His playroom is filmed is set up very, very well. It's a very nice set piece. Tyler's running away because I'm talking about 50 Shades.
I gotta know what I thought about
All right, fair enough. It shouldn't be a credit that I'm just going to say, well, it made its money, it did its job, we're going to get the sequels because how the first movie sold is going to pay for the next two movies because it already has. So it's like I shouldn't be saying that like, oh yeah, that's fantastic, but I mean, like, we know what we're going to get, and to be perfectly honest, this movie should have sucked. It should have been probably the worst thing of the year, based on the source material that it's coming from. It should have been the worst thing of the year, and as far as I'm concerned, it wasn't. It did a really solid job of being what it needed to be.
All right. So here's what I think. I had to figure out my problems. It does have decent photography. I'll give it that. And I said in my critique review that Dakota Johnson seems like the only person in the entire movie seems interested.
Yeah, because make no mistake about it, if she's gonna have a jumping off point, it's gonna be this.
Yeah, she's doing what she can.
Yeah.
And it does improve upon the source material. Mind you, I never read the whole thing. I read parts.
I read the first
one. Really catching on. I was like, I'm gonna read some of this. No, I'm gonna not read any more of this. So I've never read the whole book. So I mean, it could have got amazing, which I know it didn't. But I just found it to be very much just a slog. It's just boring and boring, and it doesn't really seem like anybody wants to be there. I thoroughly didn't like it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I gave it a 3 out of 10.
Right.
Not quite the embarrassment that it should have been. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if you want to call that praise, then I'm praising 50 Shades of Grey. But I watched... You
heard it here first, folks. Tyler liked 50 Shades
and
of
hates
Grey.
love.
And hates love.
That's as much as you get out of me. So
Fair
photography, and Dakota Johnson is cute and does what she can.
And does have nice boobies.
And yes.
So, that is... And if that, again, like you said, if that's all the praise 50 Shades is going to get, that's it. But I will take it. I will take it because it's one of those things. It's like Sucker Punch for us a couple years ago. I get a sick pleasure in being one of the only people defending this movie on any level. So there you go. 50 Shades of Grey, my number one movie that I expected less from in 2015. So that's it for this video. We gave out the movie that we can't believe we loved, can't believe we hated, the movies we expected less from, and movies we expected more from. Hit us up on the next video, which is going to be coming right around the bend. See you on the next one.
Later.